You have to go in as clean as possible. You can't ask the sellers to do anything. They're wanting to see more earnest money. You really don't have room to negotiate. If that's what they want to see, then you either take it or you don't. People are getting buyer's remorse, and it's not unusual to see people get cold feet and walk away. Your inspection can keep you safe. Your appraisal can keep you safe, but you can't walk away with earnest money and cold feet at the same time.
Every time I get an offer accepted, I have this gut feeling like, oh crap, did I pay too much?
I do use escalation clauses a lot in my offers. I'm really encouraging my clients to go more than $1,000 above the next highest offer. Just like the purchase prices have been inflating, I think that those are going to inflate too. Going in with your best foot forward is always what I tell my buyers. You know, listing a home is a price war and a beauty pageant rolled into one. Do you have to fix it up and make it look pretty? Do you have to do a whole bunch of repairs and have it in mint condition before you list it and sell it? No, it will definitely sell in this market, but will you be leaving money on the table? 100% yes. Sellers aren't going to call for highest and best. It's just assumed that it is. Best foot forward, always. Remember.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got Realtor Angela Pierce, and we're going to do a quick video on how to get deals accepted in this crazy environment.
You know, Jeremy, the most important tool when trying to get your offer accepted, do you know what that is?
Smashing the like button to help the YouTube algorithm?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, something else from the seller's offer. A title policy. It used to be customary for the seller to provide an owner's title policy to the buyer.
You know, back in the good old days, we used to be able to negotiate closing costs and often allow the buyer to walk away with some of their own cash in pocket because the seller was willing to pay for the title or to pay for some of the closing costs. But it's again one of those leverage tools that you have to go in as clean as possible. You can't ask the sellers to do anything. If they're not going to be willing to do repairs, they're definitely not going to want to pay for your title expenses.
And then earnest money. We spoke about this. I think you said this was about normal here. This has not really changed. It's $1,000 or maybe 1%, something like that. Any updates there?
1% is the standard rule, but it's again what we're seeing, and I experienced this last week, where sellers are hearing from multiple different sources that they have the upper hand and buy a lot. They're wanting to see more earnest money. You really don't have room to negotiate. If that's what they want to see, then you either take it or you don't. You put down a considerable amount.
What was it? 10,000?
It was either 10 or 20. It was a lot.
Oh, okay.
But the competition in that situation, in order to translate a higher offer to the seller, you kind of have to match those things.
I've wondered if someone has heard of, you as a realtor have seen people where they put down 100% of it right away. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever heard of that?
No, I've never seen that.
Well, these days, a lot of investors are paying no contingencies. So there is no out. So why not just give a crazy amount of earnest money? It would get their attention.
I guess.
I mean, if they can't convey, marketable title, you would be refunded your earnest money.
I guess there's no reason why you couldn't. So the way that I'm seeing contracts written right now, the inspection contingency is in place to protect both you and your earnest money. The same thing with the appraisal contingency. It's to protect you and your earnest money. You want to be able to make sure that those funds are protected. But I think you've touched on it, in this market, people are getting buyer's remorse, and it's not unusual to see people get cold feet and walk away. It's either understood or should be strongly explained that that's the risk. Sure, your inspection can keep you safe, your appraisal can keep you safe, but you can't walk away with earnest money and cold feet at the same time.
Every time I get an offer accepted, I have this gut feeling like, oh crap, did I pay too much? Yeah. And then fast forward 3 months, once I get that thing finished, up and running, and people are in it, and I start looking, I always feel better. And so
you can breathe again. Yeah.
I can. And so I keep telling myself, well, so far it's been good. And if I have one bad deal, but I've got a bunch of good deals, on average, I win. And then if I have a couple of those bad deals in a row, then maybe I'm going to learn from those. I could see, homeowners that pay 20, 40 over asking. I just paid 20 over asking in the last one I did. And maybe I think the same on the one prior to that, but it's nuts. I could see homeowners who don't do this much having that buyer's remorse.
At night, you wake up with a cold sweat. What have I done? And they're major financial transactions. No matter the market, buying a home is a huge huge financial investment, and that comes with a lot of nerves. And so I think it's really, really important to understand sort of what you're getting into, what the process is going to look like, what the risks are, and also what the advantages are of buying in this market. But financial decisions, major ones, are having to be made fast. And that to a lot of people is scary.
Have you had to talk some of your buyers off the ledge after they've gotten a high price accepted?
Well, yeah. And the other issue that we're seeing right now is FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And
Yeah.
so, with inventory being so low, people are kind of having to compromise on their wish list a little bit.
Yes.
And so, it's happened to me a couple of times where, we have won the multiple offer situation. We got a house, we snagged one. That night, something else that looks like it could be a better option maybe pops on the market. And they're like, what if we missed out? What if this is the one? What if can we get out of it and offer on this one? Really is just a stressful market. Really stressful.
Let's see, the last thing I had on the list for buyers is closing date. I think you mentioned 30 days is still pretty common there. Nothing crazy going on there. Is that
30
still
to
pretty
45
accurate?
days is about market average. Yeah.
Okay. Something that I've been writing in mine is putting in the special stipulations. You put that date in the contract, but then in the special steps you can say buyer will close as soon as title company is ready, and just get your buyer's agent to highlight that, like, hey, he's ready to close sooner than later.
I think that's definitely something that's attractive to sellers.
The sellers pretty much want to sell ASAP generally, unless they need to live there, or even if they do need to live there, they're ready to get this thing going so they can go buy another place.
So they can move on. Yeah, they're ready
lock
to go
in.
shopping.
So sooner is always better.
Yeah.
In closing with cash, I've been trying to close early to get a competitive offer. I've found that title companies are pretty backed up as well.
Well, even though inventory is low, the market is booming. And so it's similar with home inspectors. I follow several different home inspectors on social media, and they're all exhausted. Everybody is sort of spread super thin right now. And whether it's labor shortages or the booming market, it's just there's a lot of moving pieces.
Well, hey, I wanted to move on. We talked about sellers, we talked about buyers. I wanted to talk a minute on investors. Having a home equity line of credit, a house that you live in, use it to invest with. Use it for down payment money on buying a property, even if you got to get a loan on it. Use it for the fix-up, but you can't get a loan when you need a loan. So I tell everybody, lock down a home equity line for a rainy day.
I think that's great advice.
And something else that I'm personally doing is refinancing, I think 7 of my properties. I'm trying to pull out some more cash so that I can go win these deals. I'm so excited that I've got a rate of 3.1%. Usually investment loans are more expensive and higher rate than home mortgages. And so right now that's flipped upside down. The other thing that I'm using a lot, and I know that homeowners are using, are escalation clauses. Buyer to pay up to $1,000 over the highest offer up to a maximum of Y amount. In my case, I've been adding the word cash offer in there because on a house I won recently, there was a loan that went up to, I want to say, maybe $80,000 over asking. And there were maybe 2 or 3 cash offers. I don't want to compete with those loan offers. I only want to compete with those guys. So if I'll go 1,000 over them, I'm hedging my bets a lot by keeping it down in reality. Have you been using a lot of escalation clauses in your offers?
Yes, I do use escalation clauses a lot in my offers. In the past, folks were able to offer $1,000 over the next highest offer, but right now, where there are such different leverage items being utilized, $1,000 may not necessarily be enough to sway somebody. Like, let's say you're offering $1,000 above the next highest offer, but that next highest offer is waiving their inspection contingency. So you want to make sure that you're as strong as possible, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of times it comes down to dollars and cents. And so I'm really encouraging my clients to go more than $1,000 above the next highest offer.
If they have contingencies.
At the end of the day, the thing that's most attractive to sellers is that purchase price. That's where you're going to have the most leverage.
Is it still the net purchase price, what they're interested in, or are there some of them that just really want a big price at the top?
In a market where we really aren't seeing folks ask for seller to pay closing costs or title, that net amount is really sort of the same across the board.
I still think that if you're offering cash, I probably still want to keep mine at just 1,000 over, because I assume most cash offers are just a super clean net offer with no other valuable consideration. If I were to offer like 2,000 or 5,000 over, I think I'd be wasting my money in that scenario. But like you said, if you had other contingencies, there were other considerations that they should think about before asking in 1,000 1,000 just isn't enough to push them. What are you seeing? Instead of 1,000, do you say 2,000 over or 25 or 5,000 over, or what are you seeing?
At really anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 is typically what I'm seeing right now. But just like the purchase prices have been inflating, I think that those are going to inflate too. And then it's sort of like what we were talking about, everything is a case by case basis, how you would like to cap it above the next highest cash offer. The risk you run is the education and past experience of that seller. Who's coaching them? Who's telling them what is more valuable and what isn't? And what experience do they have with a previous cash offer or a previous conventional loan experience? And so it's really hard unless you have a crystal ball in this market. There's so many pros and cons and risks to be assessed. But at the end of the day, going in with your best foot forward is always what I tell my buyers.
I've seen something that other cash investors are doing that I've started doing. Force a deadline on your offer like same day, midnight, before all these loan offers come in. You know, those people are kind of slow. They wait till the weekend to plan. They think about it and they talk and all this. I'll look at it on the web, do some numbers, take one look at it, and I won my last deal by doing that. So have you seen that?
This is a hot topic between realtors right now. It can either go really well, work to your advantage, the seller feels the pressure and performs, or you run the risk of offending them or making them feel like you're trying to strong arm the process. And they'll dig their heels in and make you wait just like everybody else. So it's a case by case basis, and it depends on who the seller is, what their past experience is, and who's coaching them in the background.
You know, for me, I thought, what do I have to lose? If they accept it, I win. And if not, I'll just make another offer tomorrow after the big open house on Sunday and they get, 60 offers or 40 offers or whatever it is. The ones I go to are typically pretty good deals. That's why I'm interested. And so it seems to me like every house has 60 or 80 showings and 20 offers, but that can't be true for all houses on the market. Tell me about that. Like on an average house that you list or that you go to put an offer on, how many showings and how many offers would you say you're seeing on your typical listing?
Listing a home is a price war and a beauty pageant rolled into one. The homes that show the best and look like the pictures are out of a magazine, those are the ones that are going to get the most amount of showings, the most amount of sort of competition and offers. They're going to be fought over the fiercest, whereas the ones that are not necessarily as attractive aren't going to see as much action. But again, the price detail is a big driving force to that. And so homes that look awesome and are priced a little bit below maybe what the market value would be, those are the ones that are getting the most response from buyers right now. The layer of competitiveness is what drives up that price. And so I know for me, homes in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, which is really popular right now, the ones that look the best, probably about 30 to 40 showings and anywhere from 15 to 20 offers.
You mentioned if people shine it up, make it look pretty. I got a guy, when I get my license, he wants me to list his house. And he says, my house needs a lot of work, right? I've got to do all this stuff. But I heard that I don't have to do anything. I can just sell it and still make a bunch of money. And I said, if you make it look better, you'll actually make more money. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think, do you have to fix it up and make it look pretty? Do you have to do a whole bunch of repairs and have it in mint condition before you list it and sell it? No, it will definitely sell in this market. But will you be leaving money on the table? 100% yes.
The other thing you mentioned about pricing something a little below market, I see that as a very intelligent or methodical strategy by probably a really great agent to say, hey, let's list it a little below so we can get 5 or 10 times the amount of interest and traffic and offers. If somebody says, I accept your offer for exactly what you're offering on the MLS, you have to take that offer. So you're going to need to compress that down to, having an open house, for example, setting a deadline to accept all offers so they'll all come in at the same time. What are your thoughts?
It's definitely the strategy that I lean towards. And the conversation that I have with sellers right now is the market itself is really the safety net in that scenario. And the plus side to having more action and more buyers and more offers, it may not necessarily be that you can get more than X amount of dollars, but you can definitely leverage those terms. So inspections and repairs, appraisal contingencies, those extra details that we've discussed that weigh heavily in an offer scenario, you have more power and more control over those things when you've got more offers in hand.
When they hear there's 5 offers and 10 offers, buyers will start dropping contingencies and maybe giving it their best and final.
Yes, because at the end of the day, you can only go so high with your money. And if you don't have any more buying power, that's definitely the next step. That's the next tool to utilize, are those contingencies and dropping them.
We haven't talked about being aggressive with offers. In the old days, you would kind of lowball. And then after a year ago, they were doing best and finals. And so you always had a chance to offer more. I'm seeing that those are over and you got one shot to give it your best and that's it. Or you're just going to lose. Would you agree?
100%. Right now, sellers aren't going to call for highest and best. It's just assumed that it is. Best foot forward, always. Remember the good old days when we could lob an offer back and forth over the net a few times, but now there's no negotiating. You either put it all out there, play your cards and get picked, or you don't.
In closing, I wanted to say this. I think today, now than ever, realtors are earning their commissions. Get it cleaned up. Let's put it on the MLS. Let's price it right. Let's get massive competition like the MLS can do, and you're going to win more money. You'll pay more commission, but you'll walk away with a ton more money. Having a realtor who knows all these games that are going on, how to write your offers and how to play both sides, whichever side you're on, is critical to getting an offer accepted on the buy side or playing the same game and getting as much as you possibly can on the sell side. You guys must be doing a ton of education and meeting with your brokers, and are you doing a lot of that in your office?
I definitely agree with everything you said. I think that the education layer is definitely adding a lot of time to sort of our daily schedule because, like we talked about, it's really, really important that folks are educated with things being so creative and outside of the box and unique as far as offers in this market, and emotions being so high. Brokers are being consulted more frequently now than ever with questions, with concerns, with problems, red flags, all of those issues that were, occasional before are daily occurrences now.
Well, Angela, I really appreciate your time. This has been fun. I look forward to doing another one of these. For the listeners, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. And Angela, what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch with you?
I love a good text message, and my phone number is 423-598-2365. You can also find me on social media, on Facebook or on Instagram.
Be on the lookout for my next video where I'm going to go through house number 36 and show you exactly how much I spent on it, how much I spent on the remodel, how much it's currently worth, and therefore what my current equity position in it, as well as how much I'm getting for rent minus my monthly cost and how much I'm netting every month for cash flow. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll know when that video's out. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great week, and thank you for your support. Although I'm a licensed CPA and have 3 business degrees, own more than $7 million of real estate, and have more than $50,000 a month in rental property income, I'm just a guy on YouTube with my dog, so please be sure to contact your professional before making any investment decision. IdentityGuard.com is now offering my subscribers a 33% discount on their services. See the link in the show notes below.